everyone, the best Emily here, and today I'm going to be doing a felting video for a bucket of KFC original chicken. It's going to be about this big, so it's going to be tiny and cute and adorable. So I'm going to start off with the bucket first, and then I'm going to move into making the chicken pieces. So let's get started. So I've got my colors set out. I've got the red and the white, and then the black is going to be for the little KFC Colonel Sanders head. And then I have a little piece of PVC pipe that I'm going to use to make the shape of the bucket. And it's nice because it kind of protects your fingers too while you're working, and so I'll just put the white in first, and then I'm going to add the stripes and everything on the outside, and then I'll worry about the actual chicken on top. Okay, so now I've kind of put my white in, and I'm going to pop it out of my little tube here, and I'm going to kind of see what shape we've got going on. You can see where I added the second layer of felt here. So now I'm just going to kind of work around it and smooth it out and compact it even more. And if I need to add more on the outside, I can, but right now I'm just trying to get my basic shape of the bucket. And we don't need to make it hollow inside because there's going to be chicken sitting on top, so it can just be one solid piece of felt. Alright, so the buckets are not exactly, a cylinder, so this is my basic shape. So now I'm going to start adding some width and have it flare out a little bit. So I'm just going to take strips of wool and add layer upon layer until I get a better basic shape that I want. And then after I get that better basic shape, then I can start adding some of the outside detail, like the red stripes that are so iconic of the KFC bucket. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take some wool and I'm just going to make like a sheet of felt out of it. First you lay the fiber one direction, so right now it's going this direction. And then you take another piece and you lay it the opposite direction, so it's crisscrossing on top of each other. So I'm just going to spread this out a little bit and place it. So now this one's going this direction. And then I like to use this needle felting tool that's got 3 needles in it. It makes it kind of faster for work like this. And you just randomly poke all over, whoop, my bucket, all over the wool, and then you keep working on it like this until it starts to kind of mat together. So I'm going to do the red stripes with the KFC logo and my little version of the Colonel head on here before I attach it onto my chicken bucket. So now I've got my little stripies on here. I'll keep cleaning them up a little bit more. The next step is going to be to do the kernel face. And I'm not going to do it really like perfectly specific. I'm going to put like the general shape of it in here and just do some of the basic black shading. I'm not going to make it like exactly like you would see on the bucket. I'm just going to kind of give the idea of it because it's my piece and I can do what I want. So that's going to be my next step. And what I'm going to start with, so I'm going to start with a thin layer of white over the kind of the general shape, and then I'll go in with the black and with little tiny strands that I roll through my fingers and just add the kind of detail for the face. Pretty good. It's got the logo all wrapped around. There's our little kernel head. It stands up, and I made it a little taller than the thing that the actual inside, since we just have to give the illusion that there's a bucket full of chicken here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a few chicken pieces that are going to sit inside of this top rim instead of wasting time making a whole bunch of chicken that no one's ever going to see. So I already made a couple pieces because I was testing out how I wanted to do the colors. So I made a chicken leg and a wing here already. And then I think I'm going to make a breast next. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to felt it into the basic shape I want. Okay, so working on this, what was going to be a breast, but now it's kind of, sometimes things take up on a shape of their own. It's almost kind of turning into a thigh. Here's my drumstick that I made, and you can see size-wise. What I like about walls, you can kind of do things with your fingers too. Like, I can kind of run my fingernail in here and make some of those creases like you would get from the breading on the chicken. So I don't necessarily have to have it all be just from the needle that it's felted together. And then this is a wing that I made. So this might actually end up being a thigh piece. I'm going to add a little bit more here to make it more of a triangular shape, because these thighs seem to kind of take on that shape when they're fried, so after they get breaded and everything. So I think that's what I'll do. I'm going to put these up here for scale reference and just add a little bit more on here. And then before I make another piece, I'm going to see how these sit in my bucket and how much more space I need to fill up so that it looks like a bucket full of chicken. Okay, so I put these 3 pieces in that I made. Just trim off some of these loose fibers here. And I realized that the thickness right here of the bucket from the top is just like way too thick. So I'm going to take the pieces back out. And I think I'm going to I'm going to see how much more I can felt this to make it thinner, but I might actually trim a sliver off from the inside. And then I think I'm going to add some darker shade here so that it doesn't look white when the chicken's in there, because we want to give the perception of depth to the bucket and that it is filled with more chicken, so I'm not making a whole bunch of pieces that I don't need to. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and then we'll see where we are after that. Okay, so I added some dark browns and some lighter browns to the bottom just so it kind of gives that depth perception. And with these 3 pieces in here, I'm kind of fiddling with their placement, but I think I'm going to make one more like wing piece to put in here, and then I will probably then attach them in so that they can't fall out from the pieces being displayed. I just want to make sure that I get these placed in a way that I think looks really good. So yeah, I think I'll make one more wing piece, maybe another drumstick, and then I'll just kind of fiddle around with them and see what I like. Okay, so now that I did one more little wing, so now that I have all my pieces of chicken, I'm going to put them in my little bucket. Oop, I lost one already. Chicken, you know what they say about chickens not being fully dead when you cut off their heads? Well, this one's not fully dead, even after it was fried. So now I just have to figure out kind of how I want to place my chicken pieces so that I like them. There they are. That looks kind of good. They're kind of sticking out. Maybe I'll do the drumstick because it kind of is going up and out over the bucket. And then let me put one of the wings the other way around. There. And then the thigh or breast or whatever people want to think it is. Let's see. Oops. That thing just, that chicken piece just doesn't want to stay. There, that kind of looks good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my denser needles that's for kind of getting things to stay in place, and I'm just going to hold the chicken pieces in. I'm going to kind of just go from different angles. Try to get them at least to stay in a little bit where I want them to. Because remember, this isn't going to be a piece that's going to be handled a lot by people. It's just going to be something that's, oops, on display. Oops, God, this one just does not want to stay in. Come on. Stay in your bucket with your chicken friends, chicken piece friends. So I just have to make sure that they'll at least won't fall out just when it's being moved a little bit. So I still haven't decided when I mount it if I'm going to do something where you're going to be looking down at the items or if you're going to be looking at them from the side like this. So I haven't decided how I'm going to do that yet. My initial thought was that they were going to be so you could look at them from the top down like you were looking down at a plate. But when I start to put it all together, we'll see. And the thing about this thicker needle is it does leave little indentations But you know, fried chicken has lots of like creases and bumps and all sorts of things in it. So I'm going to kind of use that to my advantage to make the chicken look a little more textured while also getting it to stay in place. So I'm just going from different angles. Oops. See, we don't want it to jump out like that. Oops. God, that one just wants to jump. And give it a little help here and hold it in place. Okay, let's see how that works. Give my bucket a little more shape. All right, everyone, now we're done, and here it is all finished. Ta-da! Isn't it cool? So we got the little logo and everything. Excuse me. Got the logo and everything. Got our chicken pieces. I think it's frickin' adorable. Got some of those little extra fuzzies off there. Oh, I just love it. The little tiny foods are just so fun to do. So that's it for this video, and I'll see you next time when I make some more tiny food. So remember, creativity takes courage.